In section 5, we talked about circles in a coordinate plane, how to determine the equation of a circle, and how to write the equation given the center and the radius. We can also determine how to write the equation given the center and a point on the circle. So if you notice, the standard form of an equation of a circle with center h and k and radius r is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals to r squared. The opposite of the coordinates of the center appear in the equation. The radius is squared in the equation. So notice our practice problems that we have. We're going to be using my equation for the center of the circle, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals to r squared. So for my practice problems, it says to write the standard equation of a circle given the center that passes through the given point. Check the point using your equation. So here, notice they did not give me a radius for any of these problems. They gave me a point on the circle. So I can do one of two things. I know that this is my h and k, so the piece that I need to figure out is r. So r is equal to what value? I have to have that in order to write my equation. So I'm going to go ahead and write the pieces that I know. So I'm going to have x minus 2 squared plus y minus a minus 4 squared equals to r squared. So r is the piece that I'm looking for. So notice here I have a negative and a negative together. A negative and negative are going to become positive. So I'm going to rewrite this as y plus 4 squared equals to r squared. So now there's two different ways that I can find r. I can either use the distance formula, or if I'm given a sheet of graph paper, I can graph the center and the point and determine what the radius value is. So I'm going to show you both ways. So my equation that I started with, I'm going to use the distance formula. So in order to use the distance formula, I have to use the center that was given, which was 2, negative 4, and I need to use the point. So the point that was given in the problem was 6, negative 4. So I'm going to use that with the distance formula in order to find r. So when I use the distance formula, it's the same thing as finding the radius, the distance from the center to a point on the circle. So these values here are going to be x. These values here are going to be y. So I'm plugging them into my equation. So the square root of 2 minus 6 squared plus, now my y values, minus 4 minus a negative 4 squared. So that's going to leave me with 2 minus 6 is negative 4 squared plus. So what happens here is these become positive, so minus 4 plus 4, that's going to go away. That gives me 0 squared. So let me make sure. So all of that is being squared. So now minus 4 squared gives me 16 plus 0 squared is 0. So I have the square root of 16. The square root of 16 is 4. So my radius is 4 for the information that was given. So now to finish off my equation, I'm going to have x minus 2 squared plus y plus 4 squared is now equal to 4 squared. So my final solution for the equation of the circle, 4 squared is 16. Now, if I didn't want to use the distance formula, or let's say I couldn't remember the formula for distance, and they gave me a piece of graph paper, then I could have solved for r using graph paper. So the center point was 2, 6. No, I'm sorry. The center point was 2, negative 4. And then the point that they gave me to use was 6, negative 4. So I plotted those points on my graph paper. So if this is the center, this is a point on the circle. So my circle is here, the outside of my circle. So now I'm determining how far that is from the center to the point. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know my radius is 4. So you can use either the distance formula or graphing in order to find your radius so that you can write your equation. Now, also in section 5, we talked about how to write our equation given the circle. So it says to write the standard equation of each circle, check 2 points using your equation. So the first thing that I need to pick out is I need to determine what the center of my circle is. So my center point is going to be 0, 2 for my picture, and then I need to pick a point. Now, the reason I'm picking a point is so that I can determine the radius. So it told me here that my point, so my center point is 0, 4. They've used these in increments of 2. So 0, 4 is my center, and the point that they gave me was 7, 4. So I need to figure out what the radius is, so I'm looking at my x values. So from 0 to 7, that has a value of 7. So my radius of my circle is 7. So now that I have my center and my radius, I can write my equation. So that's going to give me x minus 0 squared plus y minus 4 squared is equal to 7 squared. Now the reason the 4 is minus, but it was plus in my center, is because my equation is negative. So when I rewrite this, x minus 0 is still going to give me x. So x squared plus y minus 4 squared is now equal to 49. So that is the equation that matches the picture that was given. So on problem number 8, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to figure out what my center is. So if you notice here, it's telling me this was negative 8, this was negative 4, so that means this piece here has to be a negative 2. So this is negative 6, that would be 2, 4, 6, so this has to be minus 4. So minus 2 minus 4 is my center. And then in order to determine my radius, how far is it from negative 2 to positive 3? So negative 2 over to negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3 gives me a radius value of 5. So my equation, x plus 2 squared plus y plus 4 squared is equal to 5 squared. So then that's going to give me x plus 2 squared plus y plus 4 squared is equal to 25. So now the reason that these are positive is because both of them were negative for my center. So when I put them in the equation, a negative and a negative become positive. So please make sure you look over your equation for circle and the distance formula if you're not going to use a piece of graph paper to determine your radius.